Hi guys, it's Matt here for the Forex Coach. We're in this FTSE 100 long from this morning. So entry was taken, it says 9 AM here, which was 7 AM UK time. This runs on the brokerage account time, so it's usually out by a factor of a couple of hours, but it's the UK 100. So here we can see the price action that we're looking for. We've had this sort of divergency type price action here. We've got this trend line running along here, and also on the other time frames and stuff, we've got the potential for a move up now. The target where it is at the moment is probably going to be trailed down. There'd be definitely a partial profit probably around here at this moving average, the 100 period moving average, if we get up there. And because that ties in with previous highs, previous lows, so it's definitely horizontal lines of support and resistance there. And so we'll see how this one plays out. The daily charts, it is in a downtrend, so we need to bear that in mind. This is a counter trend trade, but we have hit some support, we've taken out some previous lows, etc. And some of the other indices have had a good bounce, whereas the FTSE's lagged. It has lagged behind somewhat. So if we looked at the DAX, for instance, you know, that had this secondary sell-off yesterday, but then had this really good bounce. So FTSE's behind, it's got some catching up to do if it's going to catch them up. Similar sort of thing with the, let's have a look. I was going to say a similar thing with the Dow Jones as well, but I can't find Dow Jones on here at the moment for some reason. Let's have a quick scan across. Dow Jones. Okay, maybe I'm missing it, but I'll have to check that one out. But that also had a bounce. We've got it on the 5-minute chart here, so we'll just have a look at the Dow Jones. If we looked at the hour charts, you can see this had this push down and then this, you know, this push back up. So the UK 100 was definitely lagging behind on those. One thing that is going to affect this trade is pound today. So let's just look at pound dollar and see what it's doing. I mean, we're actually seeing the pound strengthen here. Now, usually a strengthening pound would mean a weakening stock index for that economy. So we need to bear that in mind. Just looking at the weekly charts here, and it's starting to come off a bit on the weekly charts. The monthlies, okay, still sort of pushing higher. However, like I said yesterday, this has flattened out, so it could curve back around. So we need to bear that in mind on the daily charts. Again, it's just sort of this consolidation zone, isn't it? So we're going to get a breakout of this zone, whether it be to the upside or to the downside, I don't know at the moment. But it's very difficult to tell. You see this red line is some sort of support resistance line that I've got on from somewhere. But I would say that on the daily chart, this histogram, I'd like to see it go positive really more than anything and get this CMO back up to the plus 100. So that kind of conflicts the UK 100 trade, because I'm looking for, I don't want a strengthening pound today. I'd rather have a weakening pound to help the FTSE push higher. But on the technicals, based on the chart for the FTSE, it looks good. Looking at the 1 hour chart on the pound here on cable, you know, it has started to come off again. So, you know, is this just a reaction? Now, we have got some news out later, so we'll have to bear that in mind. That there's some UK news coming out, so that could affect this trade. Other than that, there's not a lot else happening trade-wise. This trade was sent out to the... This trade was sent out to the group. I'll just show you a screenshot of that. If I can. bring this whole thing over. So it's 7:02 this morning. That's just an image, so I click on that and that will just show them the entry price, the position size that I've taken, and the stop loss and the target price. So basically it's a screenshot of this information down here, but you can see 7:02. I put the trade in there to the group, so anyone who's a member of the group will obviously see and get that trade and can follow it. So I'll keep giving updates throughout the day and have a good day's trading. Okay, just back on this FTSE trade, and I'm going to be trailing up the stop loss to just below the lows here. So initially started with a really wide stop, purely just put a stop in before to see what the price action done before I decided, you know, where to put the stop. But the stop can now go below these lows here, and also the target price for this trade is going to just come below these. Got sort of a bunching up of these moving averages here, and there's also some other resistance around there as well, so they're going to trail down somewhat before we get up there. We've also got previous levels here, support resistance type levels, so that looks like a good level to get out. Now it also ties in with this 21 period moving average price envelope on the daily chart. However, that is going to move down slightly, so I'm going to just actually tweak this, because that's not going to get there today, I wouldn't have thought. Actually, I will leave it there in case it does have a, you know, it's not impossible for it to have that run today to get up there, so I will leave it there just in case there is news out later. So and then if that isn't the case, then I'll move it down, but there's definitely going to be a partial profit on this one, looking to break this trend line and get up to this 100 period moving average on the hourly chart, and then take partial profit there. Okay, just back, and we'll just go back and have a look at this FTSE off the hourly chart. So it had this good push up, it hit the 50 period moving average and reacted off that and came down, but overall still the price action looked okay. The close on the 4 hour chart was still, you know, a good positive close. So all in all, I was happy to obviously just sit there and hold that position. Now we've got this trend line, so the next thing, we've kind of tackled that, the 50 period. The next thing is this trend line, and this red trend line. However, it's, you know, it's 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th time it hits this trend line. So we're looking for a break of this trend line, and then a push up, and then a partial close, depending on obviously how far it goes, between 7456 and 7475. Hopefully today. We've also got a couple of other trades now active. We've got a dollar CAD on the 15-minute chart. We're in a short on that, which is now just gone into profit. So we're in a short trade on that, on dollar CAD. I'm not going to go through all the analysis and all that now, because I'm going to save that for some of the guys in the members group. And then on the Aussie dollar, we're also in that. So you have to be careful here, because we're in Aussie dollar long and dollar CAD short. So we're playing for dollar weakness on both of these trades. And sometimes you find that you get, you know, 5 or 6 trades set up at the same time, and that's because they're all the same trade. They're all playing, you know, dollar weakness, for example, or pound weakness, or euro strength. So you need to be careful, because you can basically overexpose yourself by taking several of the same trade setups. But we're in two's okay. One trade that I did pass up on this morning was a short on the pound yen. Now it looks okay on the 1 hour chart for a bit of a rollover here, but what I didn't like was what I've seen on the daily chart. It's just too much conflict here for me on the daily chart. This could continue and move higher here. So based on what I saw on the daily chart, I skipped that trade. But it's set up, and I have a strict trading criteria that has to set up, and if everything aligns, then the trade will activate. But then I do a manual override if I don't like it based on what I see on the higher time frame analysis. Hi guys, just back and just going to take half of this dollar CAD off. I'm just going to modify this. Market execution, and I'm going to close half of this, and I'll just go through the reasons why. Reasons being is I'm already in obviously the other Aussie dollar position, which is obviously going to move in a similar sort of fashion. The trade was only taken on the 15-minute chart, of which it's getting towards the oversold zone. I do think it's got a bit more in it, because I would like to have seen it come down to this 100 period and 50 period moving average cross just down here. So if it does get down there, then I may choose to exit some more of the position. But based on obviously the price action that I've seen, it's had an okay run down, and based on the two trades that I'm in, I was happy to exit part of the trade off there. So the Aussie I'm just going to leave, so I've taken some profit. The FTSE trade pushed up, it had a second sort of touch of this 50 period moving average, then it really backed off. However, if you go to the 4-hour chart, price action all sort of is in keeping with this potential upside move. There's always a possibility that it will come down and take the stops out below here, so we've just given our stop a little bit of slack, and I've just moved it with plenty of room below this this 200 period moving average down here. So if it does want to blip down and then push up, we won't get caught out with that. So yeah, that's it for now. About 25 quid banked on the CAD, dollar CAD, and then we're still in the these three positions as we stand. Okay, we're having some movement on these trades now. So Aussie dollar again, it was a 15-minute entry. I'm going to take part profit off this as well. And again, I'll go through the reasons why in a second. So half off of Aussie, it's come up to the 200 period moving average now, which was the first target anyway. And again, on the 15-minute chart, it's had a good run. It's coming up to the overbought zone, but we will leave it running for a while and see if it can push even higher. So yeah, half off of the CAD, half off of the Aussie, and FTSE starting to push up now, so looking good so far today. Okay, just back, and I'm going to be closing out of these two well, two trades. So the dollar CAD short and the Aussie dollar long. Just leaving the FTSE long on, and the reason I've got over those is there is potential for them to go further. However, I took the trade based on the 15-minute chart. It's had a good run on the 15-minute chart. There's definitely room for it to have a bit of a bounce and go back and do some filling. So I'm going to just close these out for now, and then sit on this FTSE and see how that goes. Okay, just back and looking at this FTSE trade here. So we've gone from, I think the best point was about 70 quid up at some point this morning, and now we're about 50 pounds down because it has come off. So I'm just going to do some analysis. just been out for a bit, so I've not actually looked at this. So as we stand at the moment, the pattern's still holding up. So this can come down here, and I did say this earlier on in the video. I did message it out to the members as well. There's always the potential that it could come down and take out this low, which it's done. So we made the right call earlier by moving our stop back down slightly. So originally, as the trade started to come up, we tailed our stop back up here. But then when I saw the price action on the 1 hour chart with the potential of it rolling back over, I actually moved the stop back down, because I saw the potential for this to come down, take out these lows before then turning back up. So that could be what it's doing. We just don't know at the moment. I mean, on the 1 hour chart, it has started to roll over, so we really need to see how this bar closes. Let's just look at the 5 minute and just see what it's doing, because I can see it's pushing back up now. So I mean, it would be interesting because we've got, let's just have a look at the volume as well on this. If I go and put this back to the 1 hour, and then let's just have a look at the, have I got volume on UK 100? No, I haven't. I haven't got the volume on that, but I'll have a look off video in a minute. But it looks like a lot of volumes come in there, so that can always be a key sign, especially if it's kind of a stop loss run, that we've got volume come in, they're taking stops out before it then turning around. That's not to say that is what's happening, that's just a possibility. So still at the moment it's a matter of weighing it up and trying to get an idea of what's going on here with this market. So let's wait and see what happens. I mean, it's tested this 100 period moving average, this 50 period moving average here, and we're just looking at it to come up and break this trend line. So it's just a matter of watching it now. What will change my mind with the trade is if this 4 hour bar closes quite strongly negatively, and it looks like it's just going to continue on with this downtrend. Because what I don't like about the trade is the monthly chart, because it's just, you know, it's just ready to come off here on the monthly chart for me. You know, it's maxed out on the CMO setting there. It's starting to turn back over with regards to the oscillator there, so it just really looks like it's setting up ready to come lower. But based on the 4 hour chart, you know, there can be a bit of a bounce here, and that's all we're playing, a bounce, and then potentially it might be a nice short around this zone if we can get back up there to get in short. So sit on it, we're still in the trade for now, and see how it goes. Okay, just quickly noticed with the CAD, wow, look at that, it's pushed up. There's obviously been some sort of news out. I don't actually even look at the news these days. I literally purely just trade the technicals. I may be paying interest if there's like a Fed rate decision or something like that, or elections and things like that, then I'll be interested. But I don't have any news feed playing. I literally just trade the technicals. I used to trade with the news, and I just found it's, you know, it just makes it far more complicated and busy and stressful when you're trying to listen to news and look at the charts and analyse, and you're then, you know, doubting your technicals because you're hearing different things on the news and stuff like that. So for me, I just totally ignore it now. But been something come out possibly, but just looking at our exit actually, it was a good exit there on the let's just get this up. So where is the CAD final exit? We've got an exit there, and we've got an exit there. What time was that? 12 o'clock, 2:30. So that was the final exit, was that one there. Let's just lay that on there and see how that looks. Okay, so yeah, we missed out on a little bit here, but because the trend was up, there's always the risk that that can just turn around so quickly. So we got out around here just on this arrow when it was signalling that it was, you know, oversold, and since then it has shot up. So that was a good exit. I'm pleased with that. Good exit on that. Let's just look at the Aussie as well. should be probably a similar picture, I would have thought. Yeah, not quite so dramatic, but I think oil's coming off actually, so that's probably why the CAD's been affected a bit more. So oil is selling off, which will weaken the Canadian dollar somewhat. But yeah, a similar sort of picture here on the Aussie. So we got out that a fairly good level as well. I think we got out of that when we were sort of approaching the overbought up here somewhere. I think we did actually on this 200 period moving average. So it's just gone through that with the second half actually. So pretty much at the high was the exit on that. And sometimes that's why it's important sticking to the time frame that you take the trade on, because we entered the trade on the 15-minute chart, so really we should exit on the 15-minute chart. Sometimes you can look at then the higher time frame charts and go, oh look, there's the potential, you know, we were here at the time, there was the potential for this to go higher, but if your trade was taken on the 15-minute chart, why not exit on the 15-minute chart? Now just looking at this still has got the potential to be turning around and scooping back up. So there is a potential buy trade there if we had the 5-minute extreme oversold here, which we haven't quite got. It's not to say it won't happen, it's still pushed down a bit more, but if that had been the 5-minute oversold extreme on that, then that would have been a potential buy there. But looking at the 1 hour now, probably looks like it's got potential, yeah, to turn around. So puts that into, I had to put a question mark on that trade anyway. But yeah, good exit there, up there, so I was pleased with that. And we're still in this FTSE trade. It's not done much since the last update, so. Okay, this UK 100 is coming off, so it looks like it's going to be coming down to this 200 period moving average on the dailies here. So it'd be interesting now to see how it reacts off that. I'd like to see it react and bounce from that if it does get down there. If it doesn't and it holds down, then it doesn't look good or as good for this trade now. So it's just a matter of waiting and seeing what happens in the next couple of hours. Okay, so we're getting close to the close of this hour bar here, and if it does close like this, this hammer type bar, then you know that's quite a bullish sign. Now, if you look at the price action, it's kind of what I talked about. This high volume coming in, pushing down. You know, there was going to be loads of people that were in long here with stops just below the lows, which is initially where we had our stops after it had come up. But then when I saw this potential for this to roll back over, I knew that this was a potential spike down, take stops out, and then the move up. So we moved the stop down to give it a bit of leeway. Now what we would do if this did start to come up now, we would trail the stop up to just below this low. So yeah, that's how it's looking at the moment. We've got 5 minutes to go to the close of this candle, and we're now backing in positive on this trade. So that's why you need to stick to your analysis and just be confident in it. If you lose, you lose. It's just the nature of trading. If your analysis is sound and you stick to it, then overall you should in theory be profitable. But a lot of people in that situation would have panicked and gone, oh look at the speed it's coming off at, you know, it's selling off here, and got out of the trade. But you know, that's not to say it isn't going to come out and stop us out. You know, it's always a possibility, but as it stands at the moment, it's pushed back up. So we need to see if this can hold now. Hi guys, it's Matt here again, and I'm going to wrap up this video here because it's getting on. It's now 4:30, so it's kind of coming towards the end of my trading day. However, I am going to be leaving this trade on as it stands at the moment. We had this blip down, we've had this bullish reaction candle here. So, you know, the overall pattern is still there in place on the 4-hour chart. Depending on the close of this bar, I may, you know, change my decision. But as it stands at the moment, then I'm going to stay in this trade. And what I'm going to do if it stays like it is overnight, I'm going to leave my stop where it is, giving it plenty of space. It's still got the chance here to come down to this 200 period moving average on the daily. Before then we get this this bounce higher. This price envelope is going to be moving down, as is the 21 period moving average. Close of trade tonight, so it may be that we get this move up tomorrow, and we can take some profit on this trade. So if you're watching the video and have a look at the market, see what happened. If not, hold out for tomorrow's video and I'll give an update as to what the outcome was with this trade. But it's a good day today. We've had 2 winning trades that we've closed out today on the Aussie, so just over £100 profit there on this account, so which is good. So